British Touring Car Championship is a racing series which sees some of the world's biggest manufacturers battle it out around the UK in racing versions of the average man's road car. It's notorious for crazy action, intense battles, consistent close racing throughout the pack, and yet I have never watched it. And I don't know why. Every time I hear about the series or see the occasional race highlights, immediately I'm hooked. And I can never believe how good the racing always seems to be, especially when compared to some of the snooze fests we get in F1 from time to time. So I don't really know why I've never given this series a chance, which is why today I'm going to be doing just that, as I'm heading to Silverstone for the penultimate round of the 2023 season, to see what the series is really like in the flesh. And along the way, we're going to get to know a little bit more about the sport itself, so that I actually know what the fuck I'm watching. Anyway, let's get going. Originally known as the British Saloon Car Championship, the BTCC was first established all the way back in 1958, a whole 42 years before I was born, and 4 years after Fernando Alonso was. Beneath the flashy body kits, bright paint jobs, roll cages and race engines, the cars used in the series all distinctly resemble your bog standard road car you'd commonly find in and around the UK, with the teams pretty much being allowed to use anything as long as it's available for the general public to actually buy, which in turn has led to some of the world's biggest manufacturers all getting involved, with the likes of Hyundai, BMW, Ford, Toyota, Cupra, Vauxhall and Honda all being represented on the current grid. And I can't lie to you lads, most of the cars out there look very sexy. The body kits look sick, and the paint schemes, lads, oh my god, they're all colourful, they're each unique, and I like them a lot, lads. I find it's like a mix between F1 liveries, which can be a bit boring and a bit too tame, and NASCAR liveries, which can be a bit mental, so it's like a nice in between. Anyway, so on the way to the track now. I only bought the tickets like 4 days ago. They were like 38 quid each, which isn't too bad, especially considering you get like all the grandstands in that as well. I think you can basically sit anywhere. I mean, to be fair, it's a bargain when you compare it to like the F1, where it costs about £4,000 a kidney and your firstborn child just to get general admission. Hence why I've never gone to F1 at Silverstone. It's not because I don't want to, it's just quite simply,
we don't have the capacity.
Now, as I mentioned before, Silverstone is round 9 of this 10-round calendar, which works its way through all of England's most iconic circuits, like Snetterton, Alton Park, Croft, Thruxton, Brands Hatch and Donington Park twice, on different layouts each time, as well as trekking up to Irn-Bru Land once a year to take on Knock Hill. Now, the format for the race weekends is fairly simple. They have 3 races at each round, all taking place on the Sunday, with a single qualifying session on Saturday setting the grid for the first race. The finishing order of race 1 then sets the grid for race 2, but for race 3, things are a little bit different, as they take the finishing order of race 2, put the names of everyone who finished between 6th and 12th in a hat, pull one out, and whoever that is gets pole position, with the rest of the grid in front of them then being reversed behind them. I know it sounds complicated, but it isn't, I promise. Let me just give you an example, okay? Say driver 8 gets picked, yeah? He now lines up on pole, with driver 7 starting 2nd, driver 6 starting 3rd, all the way down to driver 1 who now starts 8th. And as for everyone from driver 9 down, they stay where they finished in the last race. Does that make sense? I really hope it does. It's definitely a different approach to many other racing series, but I do kind of like it. It keeps it unpredictable and can change the face of the race like that. I mean, imagine if we had it in F1. We could have bloody Guan Yu Zhou lining up on pole.
How'd you fluke that one?
So once we'd arrived at the track, we quickly checked out all the usual stands offering sim racing, giveaways and £10 ice cream, before then choosing somewhere to sit out of the multiple grandstands on offer, all of which were included in the original ticket price. Before the touring cars hit the track, we had some support races from the Porsches, Minis and Caterhams, which were all quite sick. Yet then it was finally time to see what we all came here to watch, the BTCC. We're in the grandstand, lads, it's race time. Are you excited, Amber? She's not excited.
Lights go out to get the race underway now. Jake Hill it is, who is going to come through to win round 25. Go racing, BMW launches away. Not a great start by Roboton.
Oh, that was Jack Butel, wiped out Ingram, didn't he?
Ash Sutton's going to go for the race lead. He's going to take it on the inside line. Ash Sutton wins from 23rd on the grid. Bit of wheel spin from 1 or 2. Not a bad start by Michael Priest. Not a great getaway by Dan Lloyd.
Oh no, someone's been fired off to the left. That's terrible.
Colin Turkington is a winner at Silverstone. BMW wins for the 150th time in the BTCC.
So now we know the basics of the series. The real question is, what makes it so special? Because on the surface, it's just a normal racing series, right? The cars aren't at the cutting edge of technology. The drivers aren't the most famous names ever, although there are a few big names on the grid. So what actually sets this apart from any other racing series in the UK? And why does it have such a cult-like following? Having been here today, I think I might have figured it out. It's the access. And if you bear with me here, I'm going to try and explain what I mean, right? If we think of motorsport as like a scale, on one end you have the smaller budget formulas like the Caterhams, which have have mega close racing and ridiculous access to the point you can literally walk up to the cars in the pits, yet the coverage of them is minimal, thus making it very hard to follow the series unless you go to every single track in person. And then on the other end of the scale, you have Formula 1, a series with ridiculously good worldwide coverage, with endless amounts of content with the drivers, and a whole Netflix show covering the storylines, but the racing isn't always that great, and the access, well, you know, it's almost impossible to access the drivers, and even the paddock unless you're super rich, or happen to have a friend who lets you borrow his pass for a little bit. On this scale, right, I feel like touring car sits slap bang in the middle, with the coverage being decent, as all the races are broadcast live on ITV, all the teams and drivers are fairly active on social media, and they even have their own Drive to Survive style show on YouTube, all allowing you to get invested in the drivers, learn the storylines, you know, actually follow the series as a fan. Yet despite all this coverage, the access still remains great. As for the relatively small price of the ticket, you can go to an actual race in person, sit in an actual decent grandstand which will cost 5 or 6 times the price for Formula 1, and literally walk anywhere besides like in the actual garage where the cars are, with the paddock being open to the general public all weekend. I mean, lads, you can literally walk up to the garages, right, stand right by the entrance, take photos, take videos, talk to the team mechanics if you want to, talk to the drivers if they're around, and even do free pit lane walks and signings throughout the weekend, lads. So basically, long story short, if you're a BTCC fan, you can basically go to any one of these races and probably meet any of the drivers that you want to meet. Plus, the fact the series tours around most of the major circuits in Britain means that most fans will have a race at some point in the season relatively close to their house so they can go and watch in person. Overall, just making it easier to get involved, get invested in the series, and actually, you know, see the drivers up close, see the racing up close. But yeah, anyway, lads, in conclusion, is the BTCC any good? Yeah, I'd say so. And in regards to the thumbnail, is it better than F1? Well, if you're really into close racing and love actually going to races in person and meeting the drivers and seeing them up close, then quite possibly the answer is also yes. But anyway, lads, let me know your thoughts on the British Touring Car Championship in the comment section down below. And if there's any other racing series around the world you think I should go and watch and give a chance, let me know and I might go do it. But yeah, lads, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, stay safe, have a great day, goodbye.